Hi, I am Demetria Smith, and welcome to the Social Room. You will probably get several videos like this. Sometime I will bring in other co-hosts, and sometimes you will see actually a live stream of the Social Room, and also you will just see me doing personal videos of the Social Room. But the social room is what we talk about social injustices, as well as when we can recognize, and that's when I say when we can recognize social justices. So we want to make sure we just want to talk about social issues. Our main objective is to empower people through educating them through the legal process. No, I'm not an attorney at all, but I do have a lot of legal knowledge and been very successful in using those legal knowledge as well. And also, I know community issues. I'm well versed with community issues. I'm well versed in policies when it comes to politics. So I'm well versed about a lot of these state laws, federal laws, statutes, UCC codes. So I'm well versed in a lot of areas. So since I'm so well versed in a lot of areas, and we have a lot of current issues at hand, is so much content out there, so many issues out there, dealing with Republican Party, dealing with the Democrat Party, dealing with the police union, dealing with the police department, dealing with the judicial system. I mean, dealing with economics. When it comes to the court system, dealing with evictions, tenant rights, dealing with home owner rights. It's a lot of issues that actually affect our communities. So it affects a lot of people. So now the big issue is COVID. And I want to talk a little bit about COVID 19, of course. So, as I have been doing a lot of research during the time that they rolled out COVID information that talked about the virus, prior to that, no, I'm not going to say prior to that. What happened was, as COVID information was rolling out from these elected officials through the media, I have received a inbox via Facebook, and I received the inbox from a federal attorney. So what I did was I opened up the message, and it showed me the patent number of a lot of viruses that was out there, including COVID 19. So it showed a patent number. So what I did was I took a look at that, and I looked at the patent number, and I look at the company, like who owns this patent. And then, of course, you have to research who's a part of that organization or owns the organization of the company. And it checked out to be Bill and Melinda Gates. Okay. So they actually own the coronavirus patent, the virus itself. Okay. So anytime someone owns a virus, a patent of a virus, they can predict that virus, because you can't predict anything naturally made. You can't predict anything that God is doing, but you can predict what you are doing. Okay. So when you have a patent on a virus, it's a man-made virus, and you can control it and induce it and make it potent much as you want and how you want, and get it out there how you want the virus to get out there, and then it can affect whatever you design it to affect. So now that coronavirus is owned by Bill and Melinda Gates, then you have the Democratic Party that's pushing the whole agenda of COVID 19, that's owned by a person that's not a doctor, a person that's not a scientist. He's just a technology guru, a person that's not an elected official, but he have a huge influence in what's going on in the whole wide world for him to be a non-elected official, period. He has major influence because he's in all of our policy conversation when it deals with healthcare. So it's something to take a look at, and a lot of his information, when we bring information up like this, has been censored. So they don't want to link back to Bill Gates or Melinda Gates. So they want to censor information via YouTube or Facebook, social media platforms, what have you. They want to censor the information. So I'm just getting the information out so you can do your own research and your own due diligence. Okay. A little bit about me. I am also a politician, but I am not elected official. So I have to stay involved I wasn't like elected to the seat, but I'm involved in a lot of political activities and have been involved in a lot of political activities. I'll give you some examples. I ran for city council. I ran for mayor 3 times. I ran for mayor, city council once. I ran for state representative one time. I ran for governor one time. And, so from that, I stay involved in the front lines, stay on the front lines in terms of community activities and community issues and try to see how I can better assist by empowering through education and also try to be a solution at the same time. We can recognize a lot of issues, but we don't have a lot of collective people coming together, to bring about change, bring about solutions to these issues that we're facing. So now everybody to each their own when it comes down to the COVID side. So that's when you receive the information. And when I say to the each his own, you have to actually do you some research and empower yourself and equip yourself because the battle is going to be yours and it's going to be yours individually. And it's going to be mine, it's going to be mine individually. So now it comes to the point to each his own now. So with that being said, well, fast forward, we've been dealing with a lot of unconstitutional executive orders. So the executive orders are not laws; they're just recommendations. They're suggestions when they come from your governors, when they come from your mayors, city council. Doesn't matter. But you've been seeing a lot of executive orders roll out, and they're unconstitutional. And if you don't know your Bill of Rights 1 through 5, then might not comprehend when I say it's unconstitutional. Okay, it might just go right over your head. Okay, and I just say 1 through 5 when you need to know all of your Bill of Rights. Once a person can learn their Bill of Rights, they'll understand what's constitutional and what's not when you hear government rolling out all these executive orders. Okay, so for an example, the first executive order that was rolled out, of course, they had a series of them. First one was stay at home order, stay home, work safe. That's what they call it. They try to be careful with the language that they use so it doesn't seem like it's so restrictive and it seems like it's in the best interest for your health. Like the government is very concerned about the best interest of your health and my health. Absolutely not. That's not true. So now that you have these unconstitutional executive orders rolling out, and I call it unconstitutional because it violates your Fourth Amendment right? Fourth Amendment, if you're in the United States Constitution, say a person can be secured in their own property, their own person in paper. So meaning you don't have to produce paper. Nobody can seize you without a warrant. And, your property is secured too. I mean, nobody can't take your liberty from you without a warrant. And before a warrant is issued, a crime has been committed. And then, of course, you got to know what constitutes a crime, so on and so forth. Well, these executive orders that's been issued by governors and mayors, county judges, or what have you, these are rules and regulations. So it doesn't align with your Fourth Amendment right. Because your executive orders seize you at home in your own person. They say you can't go outside until, it's lifted or what have you. So some people still facing those stay-at-home orders. Some people are not. So it violates the Fourth Amendment. That's why I say if you don't know 1 through 5, then what I'm sharing with you may not grasp it. It just may go over your head, right? But what I'm sharing with you, if you hear the words that I'm saying, you can actually jot it down and do some research on it. I would recommend highly everybody to learn the constitutional right, the Bill of Rights. For those of you that may be watching and say, hey, the Constitution don't apply to black people, or for those that may say don't apply to us at all, it doesn't work. There's several reasons why it doesn't work like that, and it doesn't work. But it's a fight. It's a battle. However, what I want to share with you is that Constitution has been ratified in 1868. And when it was ratified in 1868, once upon a time, black people was not included. But since it had been ratified in 1868, then now black people are now included in the United States Constitution. As long as you're a citizen and you've been born here, you got naturalized citizenship, what have you. Those laws, the highest laws of the land, which is the United States Constitution, does apply to black America. I just want to share that with you. Why doesn't it work? Well, that's a whole nother subject. So I'll do a series of these. Why it doesn't work, for you. Although the power is on the book, that it does apply to you, but it doesn't work for you. We have several reasons why it does not work for you. It doesn't work for me unless I apply those reasons. So you have to be well versed and educated or know some basic of jurisdiction. So I would say that much it wraps itself around jurisdiction. So I say all this because I just mentioned that to each his own when it comes to the fight, and it's going to be a great fight through COVID. Okay, so let's go back to COVID. Okay, now that we know and established that Bill Gates owned the patent of COVID itself, the virus itself, so you can rest for sure it's man-made. Okay, and you can do your own research on that as well. So also, he don't only own the patent of the virus, he owned the patent of the vaccines as well. So he's double dipping, right? So it's a conflict of interest for him to even have any say in our governmental direction in terms of we the people and where the hell we are going, with COVID-19, because he has special interest in it because he owned the virus and he owned the vaccines when it comes. Okay, the patent is already there. That means it's his ideal. He invested money in it. Now it belongs to him and he get to reap the benefit, but it restrict you of your liberties. Okay, he get to decide your health care needs. That one person and his wife, they get to decide, but they get to lobby our government. They get to use our government for their agenda, their own personal evil agenda. Okay, so I'm just trying to paint this picture so you can kind of follow me and understand and do these researches yourself. So anyway, so now that he have this agenda because he owned the two patents, I'm sure he owned others, but let's stick with the COVID ones, okay? The virus and the vaccine. Now him and his wife own the patent. They personal people, no doctor degree, no science degree. They're not elected official. They just filthy rich idiots and filthy rich bastards for sure. Geeks, if I want to say that, they just one of those, okay? Well, all three. So now that they filthy rich and they have their own personal agenda, Agenda 21, depopulation agenda. So now that they have their own personal agenda, then they're going to say, oh, you know what? How are we going to push our agenda, on the people, on the masses? We got to get to the masses. Okay. So they're going to push their agenda on the masses through whom? Your government. Remember back in 2018, I remember because I was a candidate, okay? So back in 2018, just in case you don't know, some of you, back in 2018, it was a lot of governors running, a lot of Democrat governors. It was the state race during that year. State race, people that's running for state position, state house position, right? State representative, governors, what have you. So it was a state race during that time. So of course you had a lot of Democrats on the ballot. You had a lot of Republicans on the ballot. They always at war with one another. And some of you may say, you know what? They all in it together. Once upon a time. But this period, no. This era, no. And I'll tell you about it later. Maybe not this video. Maybe on another video. I'm going to give you a little snippet, right? I make this video. However, so now that they're at war with one another due to COVID, okay, this election is going to be really different. COVID right now is being used as a weapon. And it's a weapon to actually, how can I say, for the Democrats to win the election. Not only is COVID a weapon, but racism now is a weapon too. So it's the biggest tool for them to win the Senate and for them to win the presidency. Now, why am I talking about Democrats? Because I am a Democrat too, okay? And been a Democrat, all right? And as long as my people are Democrats, because that's how they vote. And when I say my people, I'm talking about my skin color, black folks, okay? The base. What makes up the Democratic Party is black folks, so they're the majority that votes under Democrats. So that's the base. That's what we call the base. So you had a lot of Democrat candidates in 2018 running for governor. So let's get straight to that. So they ran for governor. And now that that's the reason why I'm saying this, and I'll bring you to the point. So they ran for governor. I was one of the ones that were running for governor too, but of course they kicked me off the ballot because I just don't fit their agenda, and they come up with all kind of excuses as to why they did it. And you'll read about it later. And my name is Demetria Smith, so you can look that up if you want to. Demetria Smith, Houston. You'll see a whole lot about me, right? Then you'll see that they kicked me off the gubernatorial ballot. That means the governor ballot. When I ran in 2018, not her, because if we get her in office here, she's gonna blow up our whole agenda. So they couldn't have it, right? So they already foresee that I wasn't the one that was going to let the shutdowns happen. Okay, so now that COVID happened, you got these stay-at-home orders, these unconstitutional executive orders, and social distancing, economy shutting down. Your business is shutting down. You can't go back to work. You got testings here and there in the black communities. So your Democrat judges, not Democrat judges, your Democrat governors are the one who did this. And that's why I can talk about the Democrats. when the shutdown was happening, whoo, 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 whoo. I mean, it was no warnings of nothing came. All we know, we got inundated in the media with the shutdown. Nobody can go to work. Nobody can open up their businesses. It's like, what the hell is happening in the United States of America? Or in this whole world? It was just woo, 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 like doors were just shutting down. Woo, 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 just boom, boom. It took all of us by surprise. Y'all got a quarantine for 14 days in your house, and they kept extending that, and they still extending that to this day, like it never ends. Like you just don't see an ending to the stay-at-home orders, right? So when your governor lifts the stay-at-home orders, then you have your county judge, your mayors, they want to continue, and those are your Democrat folks, continue to do it. Now, a few Republicans, I think they just kind of go along, but don't, quite get it. But, we just want to make sure that, the people are healthy, but it's not their idea. So you have mostly Democrat governors who's shutting down your economy, who's imposing these stay-at-home orders and social distancing practices. And some of you probably just don't follow what I'm saying and say, well, we want to be healthy, we want to be safe, and making sure we take safe measures. So we're okay with those governors, whether they Democrat, Republican, we're okay with them shutting us down. That can be okay, but you cannot be okay, and you will be because you don't know your 1 through 5 Bill of Rights. And again, you need to know all of them. You can't be okay with restrictions. And the reason why you are okay with liberties being restricted is because you don't know your Bill of Rights. You don't know your rights. And you don't even care to know your rights. You care more about your health and public safety and all that versus your Bill of Rights. Well, I care about my rights because in my rights, I can govern my own health. So I don't want government officials to tell me what to do with my health. And they're not going to tell me what to do with my money and how to make money and how to make ends meet and stay in the house and stand 6 feet away. They're not going to tell me what to do. You can put your recommendations out there and leave it to be my choice. That's the way it's supposed to go. Because the Declaration of Independence says that government derived their powers from the consent of the governed. So because I've seen those unconstitutional executive orders start coming down from everywhere, across the United States of America and in the world, I renewed from the Declaration of Independence. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? They didn't ask us for nothing. They ain't ask you, can you stay at home? They telling you to stay at home. Like, don't tell me nothing. You're going to ask me because that's my power I have. I'm independent. I have a free mind. I'm a free person. So you're not going to tell me what to do, government. You're going to ask me. You're going to make the recommendation, and it's up to me to receive it. So that's neither here nor there, but that's the end game. So we're going somewhere with this. So now we have COVID-19, all these unconstitutional executive orders, and now we got the testing. Testing going to lead to contact tracing. We're going to talk about that some more. And contact tracing is going to lead to isolation. Isolation is going to lead to family separations. It's coming down the pipe. Why I'm talking about this here? Because we have a bill out there, and that bill is called HR 6666. 4 6s. Okay. So it is HR 6666. Please look that bill up. That bill is about contact tracing. Do you know about contact tracing? So let's say you've been exposed to COVID, or you have been tested positive for COVID. Well, of course, they're going to want everybody contact in your phone. Okay. Y'all seen that the phone shut down, right? And we came back up with COVID trackers on the phone. Okay. It's a bill. The bill have not even passed yet. It hasn't even really went anywhere. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. So the bill was authored by your original Black Panther member, Bobby L. Rushing. He's a black man, a Democrat. So he authored the bill. Okay. And then our congresswoman, she's a black lady. Her name is Sheila Jackson Lee. She also sponsored that bill as well. So you had like 58 Democrats sign off on that bill, maybe like 1 or 2 Republicans sign off on that bill. So the bill is their ideal. But let me take you back further. Before that even happened, 6 months before COVID even came out, Bill Gates struck $100 billion contract with our Democratic government. Okay, way before COVID was even announced, that happened. So he's already in the bed to influence the bill and how the bill should be, structure and all that, because, Democrats like money, Republicans do too, but Democrats like that Fed money, so The Democrats broke. They just broke as hell. Just whichever carrot they can get, they gonna get it. Okay, and by any means necessary, like they're doing now. So now you got Bill Gates with the COVID vaccine. He got the COVID virus. He owns that. Now he's striking up. He lobbying your government, your local government, and your state government. So he understand their duties. So now he struck up $100 billion contract with our Democratic Party. From there, hell, the Democrats just start shutting down everything. Then they want to tell you can't go to work, shut down your business, but they tell you come on this line and we'll give you a box of bread, a box of canned goods, a box of whatever. They'll mix it up a little bit, make it look pretty for you. And that's what they've been doing. So instead of you being independent and paying your own bills and feeding your own self with your money and your income that you make, they tell you to come to the YMCA or come to some other venue to come pick up boxes of food. Okay, so they strip you away of your independence and want you to be independent on them. Okay, the other thing, they don't want you to need them. So the other thing is, of course, they come up with the stimulus checks and all of that. Of course, they both sides had to come together to do that because the economy was shut down, and it happened all so fast. Boom, 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 boom. So of course those checks went out. Now the Democrats, they want to propose it going on monthly, like they don't never see an end to COVID. Like I don't give me no monthly money at all. As long as the economy is shut down. Because now you're telling me the economy is not going to go back, and then you got to take care of me and my kids, and the money that you're going to give me is not going to be enough to take care of my bills, and feed us. So that's a problem when you have Democrats. Some of you may be saying it's okay, give me the free money, whatever, but you got to understand they have an investment going out there and they expecting something in return. And that return they're expecting is your civil obedience and you being ignorant to their agenda and what they're doing. Okay, civil obedience. That means obey what they tell you to do, and they're going to keep feeding you and paying your bills, the little bills that they can pay for you. Okay, be very mindful of that strategy, because the one who feed you is the one who lead you. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The one who feed you is the one who leads you. Okay, so now we got that. Let's go back to COVID-19 and the HR 6666 bill. Okay, so we have that out there with nothing but Democrats who signed off on that, majority of Democrats. So what that bill is going to do, and they may continue to amend it as they continue to roll out. It's been presented already to the House floor May the 5th. Okay, it's just sitting there. I've already put a bill alert out there so I can follow that bill and see what the hell they're doing in that bill. So now you have a House floor. They're Democrats. So of course it's going to pass the Democrats for sure. But now they got to make it to the Senate. The Senate is all Republicans. That's how come I'm talking about Democrat Republican Party, right? So Republicans may not pass that bill. It's contact tracing. It invades in your privacy, right? So I'm sure it's not going to make it to the Senate. And I think it's going to be dead on arrival. That's what they call it. You're going to bring this bill here and we're going to kill it. We're not going to see it. We don't care for it. All vote it down. You get what I'm saying? So that's where the Republican head is going to be that, because they're going to look at that bill and see that bill is invading your privacy. Okay. So contact tracers have already been hired by your local government, your county judge. So they're already out there knocking on some people's doors because they got contacts from the people that came and did the testing. They volunteered their information, probably signed a waiver, what have you, and they was able to be successful and get some contacts out of there, some people they've been exposed to, and then they knock on their doors or they call them, hey, you've been exposed to COVID, we want you to come take a test, whatever their whole line is. So they're gonna go and feed into all of that. And so when they feed into all of that, then your rights are gone already, and then it's going to be just like a revolving door, and they're going to continue. So contact tracing, again, is going to lead to family separation. So now let's say you've been tested positive. It's already starting in California, so I can speak on this right now, and the bill hadn't even passed. They just already starting this model. It's like a pilot run or what have you. So California already targeting women that's on say food stamps on welfare. And if they've been tested positive for COVID, in order for them to continue to receive benefits, they got to take a test. And once they take that test and they come back test positive, guess what happened? They already tell them in the letter, and I still have a snippet of, I have a screenshot of that letter. They told them in the letter that their kids are going to be removed and go to foster care. Okay, so CPS is going to take the children if the parents is tested positive. So that's what the bill is going to look like. Okay, they may not mention it because they know it's going to scare people, but as they continue to roll the bill out and continue to make amendments, it's going to lead to just that, because they're already acting in that capacity right now. So again, you have contact tracers. It's going to tell you got to stay at home. Once you open your door, they're going to serve you a piece of paper. They can have, the peace officer standing right next to them, and what you call them, law enforcement, standing right to them to execute their so-called order. And you're going to have to open it up, and open that letter up, and that letter sees you, and they're going to go on about their business. So you're going to have to follow instructions of whatever the doctor that you have never seen in your life and haven't been tested positive or anything. You're going to have to be seized in your own home, which is the Fourth Amendment violation. So that's why I say it's imperative that you learn 1 through 4. No, I'm sorry, 1 through 5. So these are doctors that's going to be giving you these orders. These not going to be judges or anything like that. And a doctor you have never seen, never spoke to, but you're going to see their name and their signature, on in that letter, on that letter, to say, you tell you guys stay inside. You can't go make groceries. You can't go to work. You can't do nothing. So it's just going to interrupt your livelihood just right then and there, unexpectedly. And then you got to call in. Oh, I'm in quarantine right now, but I haven't been tested. You get what I'm saying? So it's one of those moves, but I would not be entertaining that. So they can do what the hell they want to do. I would not be entertaining that. So one of them moves is going to take place. In fact, they're going to take place, period. So what they're doing also, so do your research on that. What they're doing, they're also getting quarantine courts ready. They're getting quarantine judges ready. They are training judges. Judges are training themselves to handle rebellious COVID, asymptomatic people that may have been exposed and don't know they have it. So you're going to have some rebellious people, right? So they're getting those type of courts ready. They're getting those judges ready to deal with rebellious people like me, Demetrius Smith, people that know too much and know their rights or what have you. So they're getting them ready. They're getting those judges ready. For people who refuse testing when they mandate it, if the bill passed and they mandate the testing, and then of course later on they'll make the amendment again and they mandate the vaccines. You get what I'm saying? So if people are rebellious like me that go against the testing, go against the vaccine, then they're gonna throw us, in the courtroom so the judge can order us to follow those health care protocols, at the doctor's request. And so with that being said, remember when the judge imposes orders, it's an order. Okay, so what? It's a ruling, and I might disagree with your ruling. So what? I don't have to agree with the judge's order. Of course they want to hold you in contempt of court and all that. You better fight all that. So I wouldn't agree with the judge's order. So a judge's order must be appealed. I can appeal that judge order. But remember what I said about jurisdiction early. It's a way to get out of that situation, but you have to understand what jurisdiction really is. And as long as you are in your proper jurisdiction, and the judge is in the jurisdiction that they're in right now, and the jurisdiction they in, I mentioned this. Remember, I said I'm gonna give you a little bit of it. The jurisdiction that all your judges are in right now, because they are attorneys as well, they're under the maritime law jurisdiction. Maritime law. Maritime law is the law of the sea. Okay, so which means our judges in the United States of America are foreigners, and they have foreign power. Okay. And they cannot use the foreign power in the United States of America under the law of the land. And the law of the land is the United States Constitution, right? Your courtroom sits on dry land, and it's not on nobody's ship to be the law of the sea. But that's the jurisdiction those judges and lawyers are in. And the reason why they're in those jurisdictions is because they pledged to the Brits, to the British. And how is due to the flags that sit in those courtrooms. So you have two type of flags. If you're in America, United States of America, you have something that looks like a Texas flag with the gold fringes around there, with the little red, white, and blue rectangles. And then you have the red, white, and blue stripe flag, okay, with the gold fringes around it. So anytime you see flags with gold fringes around there, it's because that is maritime law. That's the law of the sea. And that's the jurisdiction those judges and those lawyers have, because they pledge to the Brits. They have to uphold the Brits, constitution or their laws, which is the Uniform Commercial Codes. That's the UCC codes. That belongs to the Brit. That's maritime law codes. Law of the sea, not law of the land. So the United States Constitution is the law of the land. And as long as you yourself bring yourself in and use that law, and you under that jurisdiction, which is common law, then that law applies to you. and not to that judge. That judge going to want you to come over to their maritime law when you state your name for the record. Okay, when you say your name for the record, that's personal jurisdiction. They have gotten over on you. And as long as they receive that personal jurisdiction, you're now on their territory. You're law of the sea. And so, which means you can't talk about your constitutional rights, because you didn't come off dry land, basically, and went to the boat, the water law. That's what I call it. So you're no longer in your law of the land jurisdiction because you answered to the judge's question. And I say that because the judges already have your information in front of them, and they just want you to verify that all caps name, all Demetrius Smith in all cap, that's that corporation name. So they already want you to just to verify that what they see, and you just say yes, and you don't see what they see, you in their jurisdiction. So now you can't bring your Bill of Rights, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment. You can't bring all your rights in their jurisdiction that you subjected yourself to. So because you're in their jurisdiction now, all your rights is the law on the law of the land. It's in the law of the land, not law of the sea. Okay, you don't have foreign rights; they have foreign power. So the end game to this here to avoid all that is make sure that you're in your proper jurisdiction when you're fighting in the courtroom on your own. For your families and friends, and not for your family and friend, but for you. And some of y'all might have to represent y'all family on another. That's a whole nother story and tell you how you do that. So with that being said, no, you can't practice law in the United States of America. So they say, but you have a lot of loopholes to get around that, and it'll be okay. But that's all. That's a whole nother video. So I mentioned that because it's going to be a time with COVID mandate. The testing is going to be mandated. Right now, they're asking people to volunteer and take the test right now. But it's going to come a time if Joe Biden win. It's going to come a time the testing is going to be mandated. Vaccines are going to be mandated. And if we rebel, we refuse, of course, they're going to want to mark us as mentally ill. They're already preparing for that, too. So the scientists and the doctors are already preparing. Dr. Burke's already talking about it. So they're already trying to, give a signal that it's going to be leaning towards that direction, right? So even though when it leans towards that direction, you have to understand how to fight jurisdiction. So they won't have jurisdiction over you because there'll be law of the sea, right? You law of the land. And that's your natural man, your common law. So read upon that. So now the COVID mandate testing will be coming and the mandate vaccines will be coming. And those bills will continue to change. It will continue to be amended. So with that being said, you'll have to learn how to fight that battle. So I want to just introduce to you the bill HR 6666 so you can do some research on it. And make sure you research contact tracing, what they're about. Look at your phone and your phone settings under health. If you got an iPhone, you will see that the COVID tracker is there. If you have an Android, just kind of Google where your COVID tracker is. They have already placed COVID trackers on our phone. Although they tell you you have to have permission. They have to have permission. You got to download the app. I believe they are already listening in. I believe they're already tracking us without us downloading any app. I believe they made that implementation. They just want to lead us to believe that they're protecting our privacy, but by any means that's necessary, they're not protecting our privacy because they wouldn't have been putting all this unconstitutional executive orders out there as if they did. So with that being said, I am Demetrius Smith. I want you just to look up what's going on in the COVID world, why the media is inundating us and the politicians are inundating us with all this COVID. And as we all know, viral infection, they say COVID is a viral infection. It's an infectious disease. And we all know that to have an infection, your body is going to signal that you have an infection in your body, which means you're going to come up with some fevers. Okay? So as long as you don't have no fever, you don't have no virus. That's just what it is. That it's just been common like that. Viral infections are always associated with fevers, high fevers. Okay? You don't have no fever, you don't have no virus. It's just what it is. So govern yourself, empower yourself. Do not just let the media flood you with information without you doing your own research on what's really going on. We're in a time where you have to protect your rights and your children's rights. And by doing that, the only way you can do that is by educating yourself. So with that being said, I just want to introduce to you HR 6666. Please do your research and be a champion of your own rights. And I'll do more videos to continue to show you how you can empower yourself and be a champion of your own rights. Y'all have a great day.